What's up, YouTube? This is Roller bringing you guys another video to the channel, and today I'm going to be ranking my favorite SMGs from least to favorite throughout the entire Call of Duty multiplayer franchise, with the exception of like CoD 3, CoD 2, CoD 1. I'm not going to go over those, but all the ones after that, I'm going to rank my favorite SMG and tell you exactly how much I like it in comparison to the other ones. So I hope you guys are ready. Okay, so real quickly here, just to go over the SMGs that I have picked as my favorites. It's kind of like a 2-in-1 video here. The first one here that it's showing, we're just going to go in the order that they show. I'm not going to like rearrange them. The first one that it shows here is the AK74U from Black Ops 1. Then we have the ASM1 from Advanced Warfare. This one's controversial. The Razorback from Black Ops 3. I know that's not most people's pick, but I just really like the Razorback for whatever reason. Then we have the ERAD from Infinite Warfare. Don't have a whole lot of experience with it, but that was the one that I gravitated towards the most. That's one I went with. Then we have the MP5 from the current Modern Warfare game. Then we have the MP40 from World at War. Then we have the MP5 from the original Modern Warfare. Kind of confusing there. Don't get them confused. I'll go over that when I get to it. Then we have the MP7 from Modern Warfare 3. Then we have the MSMC from Black Ops 2. Then we have the MTAR X from Call of Duty Ghosts. And then we have the PPSH from CoD World War II. Then we have the SOG 9mm from Black Ops 4. And the UMP45 from Modern Warfare 2. So those are all of my favorite SMGs from the pretty much the relevant... Hello?
Hello?
What are you doing?
Hello?
I'm mid-record right now. You're being recorded.
Hello, YouTube.
Well, that was a little bit of an interruption there from Corey. Sorry about it. Anyways, these are my favorite SMGs across all of the Call of Duty games. I know that a lot of people aren't going to agree with a lot of these, but that's okay. These are my picks. You're more than welcome to tell me yours down in the comment section below. But let's go ahead and let's get into it. The first one we have here is the Black Ops 1 AK74U. Now, again, this is a gun I don't remember a whole lot of because I didn't get to use it in its prime, because I know that it did get nerfed. I didn't use it a whole lot then, and I wasn't real particular on knowing what the meta was at the time, right? That's going to be the case with a lot of these. But the AK74U, I do remember it just felt easy to use. It didn't seem complicated. It didn't seem hard in any shape, way, or form. I could get kills with it, whereas in a lot of Call of Duty games, SMGs take a particular skill set to be really good with them. And I've never been super good with SMGs, but this one I could handle. Now, I'm going to put it in the average category because, again, I don't have a whole lot of experience with it, but I did enjoy using it, and I did gravitate towards it. I was definitely more of an assault rifle person when it came to Black Ops 1, but the AK74U was my go-to SMG when I was attempting to use SMGs. Next, we have the ASM1 from Advanced Warfare, and I'm going to be straight up and honest with you guys. I never enjoyed the SMGs in Modern or in Advanced Warfare at all. The SMGs, again, I'm not much of an SMG person, but that game in particular, I just didn't do well with SMGs. Of course, when I was trying to do well, and the one that I did do the best with was the ASM1, but I could never get the hang of it. And I never got the speakeasy ever throughout all of my trials and tribulations in that game. 15, 16 prestiges or something, and never got the ASM1 speakeasy. So again, just not real happy. I think most of the SMGs in that game were not good to begin with, but this one, it doesn't make it very high on my list of favorite SMGs. It looked cool, it felt cool, I just didn't do that great with it. Next up here, we have the Razorback from Black Ops 3. A lot of you guys are you probably already hate me for even putting this on the list. A lot of you guys probably would have this in the bad, awful category or meh or whatever, but it's going to go in the good category for me. I really liked this gun because I normally gravitate more towards assault rifles, and the Razorback really catered to that playstyle. I could get in those medium range engagements and I could still eliminate people without an issue because the gun was meant to perform at that medium to close range, those medium to close range gunfights, and I really enjoyed that. So the Razorback for me is gonna be in the good category. Not my favorite, not the best, but it's up there. It's among some of my favorite SMGs that I've ever used. Next up here we have the ERAD. I'm gonna put the ERAD in the bad category just off the rip because the ERAD was one of those guns that was it was out of my scope of skill. I'm not super good with SMGs, as I've already said, but the ERAD, when I used it, it just felt like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to use. The other SMGs I'm not having any luck with. So this is the one that I'm going to run with. If I could go and choose, if I could have skipped a game to not have a favorite SMG, it would have been Infinite Warfare. It didn't work well. I didn't like it. I didn't like the lasers. I just didn't like the way that the whole thing felt. So the ERAD is going to go in the bad category for me. Not that it was necessarily a bad gun all the way around, just in comparison to the other SMGs on this list, it's going to have to sit in that bad category, unfortunately. Now we have the MP5 from Modern Warfare. Now, I think that the MP5 in Modern Warfare, this Modern Warfare, is very, very good. With the 10mm rounds, it performs super well, and I think that it deserves to be in the good category. I really do. I think that it is a top-notch SMG, and if you were to take that exact model, the way that they've done the attachments and everything, and put that into almost any other Call of Duty game, it would be considered one of the best SMGs. So I think that the MP5 definitely deserves to be in the good category. I have a lot of fun using it. I can actually do well with it. I feel satisfied when I get kills with it. I don't really feel lucky with getting kills, and I just overall enjoy it. So it's going to go in the good category for me. I would love to know where you guys would put a lot of these weapons on a list of your own. Tell me down in the comment section. But MP5 I think is a really good SMG, and I think that it's going to go down as one of the better SMGs. Like, people are going to look back on this gun in the future and be like, man, those are some great memories with that gun. It just, MP5 feels right. Here we have the MP40 from World at War. Now, the MP40 runs a fine line between being good and just straight up overpowered. I think that the MP40 was, it was fun to use. Again, I've said it in other videos, didn't have a whole lot of experience with the World at War multiplayer, but I do remember the MP40. The MP40 was fun to use, but looking back on it, I think that it mostly came down to it just not being balanced, and if it would have been balanced properly, I don't think that it would have been regarded as high in the tier of weapons as it was in World at War. I think I'm going to put it in the average category, not because it was an average weapon, just because, again, not a lot of experience. 2, I know that it was just absurdly overpowered. And 3, if there were some changes made to it, I don't think that what they were going for would have contended as a top tier SMG amongst these ones. So I am going to put it in the average category. You know, I could go with it being in the good category, but I think I'm going to settle for average. If you guys have a disagreement, or if you think that's wrong, just again, let me know in the comment section. Next up here, we have the CoD 4 MP5. Now the CoD 4 MP5, this was one of those games where SMGs were not my strong suit, both in remastered and in the original CoD 4. The MP5 was one of those SMGs where you had to be good with SMGs in order to really utilize its power, and because of that, I think I'm going to put it in the meh category. Only because of that. I think that it was a good gun. It was the SMG I gravitated towards, but most of the time I didn't want to use an SMG in CoD 4 because I just wasn't very good with them. But my go-to one would have always been the MP5, which I feel like is in a very similar place as the ASM1 from Advanced Warfare. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting into some really good ones here. As you guys know, we don't have one in the best category yet, but now we have the MP7 from Modern Warfare 3. And I have so many memories of using this gun. This was a tough pick between the MP7 and the Modern Warfare 3 UMP45. Either one of those probably could have gotten into this position, honestly. But I think that the MP7 was superior. I loved the way that it shot. It had no recoil. It felt super satisfying to get kills with. It was all around just a really good weapon. And I honestly think that it is one of the best SMGs that has been in a Call of Duty game in the history of Call of Duty games. The Modern Warfare 3 MP7 was some top-notch quality. It was a really good gun all the way around. It had way more range than it probably should have. Low recoil, high fire rate, decently large magazine. It was a great gun to use, so it's going to go into the best category for me. Definitely one of my favorite SMGs in CoD history. Now we have the MSMC from Black Ops 2. Again, gonna go in the best category. Now, I will say that I don't think that the MSMC is better than the MP7. I just don't. But I do think that the MSMC was really, really good. Again, it was one of those weapons where it felt like you could use it in more situations than you would expect. It had a good fire rate. The recoil pattern wasn't too hard to control. It felt smooth. The one knock against the MSMC was I didn't like the iron sights, and I always struggled with the iron sights, and that's a me thing, not the gun itself. I've always had an issue with weapons that have iron sights that have like multiple points on them. It throws my aim off for some reason, but you couldn't run a sight on it because that just looked goofy. So that made me struggle with the MSMC, although just a lot of good memories with it, a lot of long kill streaks and games of hardpoint that I remember. A lot of fun. I do think that it is one of the best SMGs that we've ever had in CoD history. People love it. I love it. It just isn't quite better than the MP7, although, again, it does fall into the best category in my own personal opinion. Now we have the Call of Duty Ghost MTAR-X. This one's hard for me because this is another game where I wasn't an SMG player, wasn't very good with it, although I was better with the MTAR than I was with a lot of other SMGs in this list. I think that the MTAR deserves to be in the good category. I think that it is, in my memory, in my opinion, it is one of the more memorable SMGs, and it was fun to use. It's just, again, I wasn't super good with it, but I could contend with that in comparison to a lot of the other SMGs, and I didn't feel like I was out of my element when I used it. I just knew that it wasn't necessarily my strong suit. Whereas some of these SMGs, like the MP5, the ASM1, even the Black Ops 1 AK74U, I knew that when I was using this, I was putting myself at a disadvantage, where that wasn't necessarily the case with the MTAR. With the MTAR, I was more of a, hey, this isn't normally what I use, but I can put up a fight with it. So I think that the MTAR needs to go in good category. Super memorable, a lot of fun to use, good memories with it, the way that it moved and it shot, it still gives me good memories. And I just recently used the MTAR in a video, or for a video that should already be up on the channel, where I went back and played Call of Duty Ghosts. So that's going to fall in the good category for me. Again, let me know what you think in the comments. Now we have the CoD World War II PPSH. I'll go ahead and put this in average, but it probably is a little bit higher than both of these two, if I had to say, honestly. The PPSH was fun. Again, CoD World War II, not a super big SMG player. I stuck with the assault rifles for the most part. Just wasn't very good with SMGs, but when I was using an SMG, the PPSH was the way to go. I liked the magazine, the way that the larger magazine worked. It felt good, it felt clean, it wasn't a lot of recoil, it wasn't too hard to use, but it also wasn't an SMG that I think back on and think, man, this SMG was so good, like it outclassed so many weapons. It just felt average to me, and I played pretty average with it as a whole. So it's going to go in the average category. I don't know, that's just where I think it should go. Now we have the SOG 9mm from Black Ops 4. I'm gonna put this also in the average category. I think that the SOG was good and I enjoyed using it, but I wasn't that good with it, and part of it had to do with the iron sights on it. I didn't think the iron sights were very, very clear for me personally. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but I didn't like the way that the SOG felt in a lot of situations. But again, it was another gun that I could use, and I didn't, it was kind of like a roll of the dice, it wasn't necessarily that I was going to do bad. I didn't really know how I was going to perform with it, but I knew that my chances with any other SMG were a lot lower. So I got to put the SOG in the average category. Wasn't super great, wasn't like bad or, below average. It was just kind of there. It was average. And last but certainly not least, we have the Modern Warfare 2 UMP45. Now, the Modern Warfare 2 UMP45 is iconic. I remember the way that it felt shooting it suppressed. Very, very good memories. I really, really liked the UMP45. I'll never forget the games on Rust that I played with my cousins and some of my friends. It felt so good. I don't even know how to explain it. The games on Terminal, it was such a satisfying gun to use, and I don't even necessarily know if it was that great. It's just what people gravitated towards. I think that it deserves to be in the best category for SMGs. It was just so much fun to use, so entertaining, and we got 3 of the best SMGs that you could possibly get pretty much in a row with the UMP45, the MP7, and the MSMC. Now, hopefully down the line in new Call of Duty games, we get some better SMGs. I plan on making the same exact list for assault rifles. Maybe I'll do pistols and shotguns and everything else. Let me know what you guys think again in the comment section. But the UMP45 definitely has a special place in my heart. It felt very, very nice to use, very fun, very... Man, I can still hear it in my head, and if I could imitate the sound and not sound like a complete idiot, I would. It was just a lot of fun to use. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about this list. Again, down in the comment section below. Hit the like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel, and deuces.